not something I saw coming. I didn't see the Bears losing to the Falcons, no matter how far back I looked at this scheduled projection. I'm sure you guys probably agreed. It seemed like polls versus pace, right? Like a Bears 2.0 versus the Bears 1.0. Somehow we lost this game. It's very disheartening, but at the same time, it kind of sprouts a new seed of hope, doesn't it? Because there is a draft that's going to happen after this season. And if we can continue to build on things, and a lot has to be built on considering we traded some of our team away during the season, and then we went and got Chase Claypool, who still needs to develop within the offense. So, I mean, there's a lot to, be shitty about, but there's still a lot to lift our heads about. I'm not going to be negative. I'm not here to be negative. If you want to be a negative Nancy and listen to negative Nancy shit, then go somewhere else. We're going to try to remain as positive as we can on this episode of Bears Country Podcast. I'm not saying forever. At some point, we're not going to. We're all going to lose our fucking minds again at some point, right? But right now, we still have to remain positive. So we have Dan Aguirre, we have Cliff Victoria with his Cliff Notes, and we have my very first guest on Bears Country Podcast, who was at the game with me yesterday at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Brian Reberg. We're going to talk it up. So don't light your hair on fire yet, because there's still a lot to look forward to. Kitty, let's kick this shit off.
Bears Country. Where is it? It's in your man cave. Your home. Your car. Your local bar. Your city. State. It's across the world. It's in your heart. And it's here. The Bears Country Podcast.
Listen, everyone in the national media, even the local media, thought this team was who we thought they were, right? But I have remained optimistic from day one. I've called 11-6. Ha ha, poo-poo on me. I'm happy to be wrong. If I can predict 11-6 every year and they're 11-6 finally, at least I can say I was right. Dan thought we had a better projection for this season than we do now. But there are still a lot of positive to build on this season because we're still developing players. We still are working towards a high draft pick in the same time. We're still developing the offense. We lost some players on defense. The defense has been suffering. But I think we should remain positive. Dan, I hope you're not ready to jump off the proverbial cliff yet. Cliff, right?
I don't know if I can be as optimistic as you are at this juncture. But first off, allow me to send my best wishes to Aldo and his wife. I don't know if they want me to say on air what's going on, so I won't. Suffice to say, if I prayed, I would pray for them. But moving on, I'm upset, man. Like, they've lost all these games. Most of them were winnable, including yesterday. But as I told you before we came on air, trying to be positive, when you got your quarterback on the sidelines getting massages because his hamstring is bothering him and his quad is sore and his calves are sore, and you just had a drive, you went straight down the field scoring with him throwing the ball predominantly, and now you're down 3 with the drive and let's go under 2 minutes, and the first thing you do is run your injured quarterback to the left, and he injures his shoulder. It's dislocated, reportedly, and you run him again on second down. It's just like, what are you doing? The guy can't stand right now. Your only hope is to throw the ball. And I don't want to buy into this tanking shit. I mean, there's no way they weren't trying to win yesterday. But if I'm going to get all my negativity out now, I said last week, it's always a revenge game. And when did the game turn? When former Chicago Bear Cordero Patterson returned a kickoff for a touchdown. It seemed that all the momentum went the other way at that time between that and the barely missed field goal from Santos.
Mm-hmm.
But you were at the game, at least watching it on TV. That was my perception. I don't know how it felt in the building.
That was the moment that the game was taken over by the Falcons. You felt it in the stadium. You're like, oh my God. Here, I said it to everyone at the game. This is that revenge moment right now for Patterson that we always seem to get against the Bears. And I will get my negativity out with you right now, because there is some negativity to be had. And I didn't realize that his shoulder was dislocated. Is it his throwing shoulder? Or
no, it's his left shoulder per NBC Sports Chicago. And he's supposedly listed as day to day. However, from the same article, it indicated that Eberflus did not rule out shutting him down for the season either, but didn't say they were going that way either. So it's just, who knows?
Yeah.
But I blame this one on Luke Getsy. You got to know when your players are hurt, and he just couldn't run. He didn't have anything left. Mm-hmm. And you're still calling that same play, especially when, like I said, he showed promise throwing the ball. Even the one he missed deep to Mooney, it seemed like Mooney wasn't running. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 times this year they've thrown the ball deep to Mooney, and it just felt like he was jogging. It's like, why not put Claypool out there then? You traded a second-round pick for him. He can run a fucking go route.
You know, I have some plays that I chose to show that we can get into it like a little bit that kind of has to do. They were back-to-back sacks that kind of go along to what you were saying about your confidence in Getsy. So I'll bring that up later when we have everybody else on the show. So
sure.
You know, I know there are some things to be negative about. You know, I'm trying to remain as positive as I can possibly be because, well, this is a podcast I'm trying to run, and I don't want to be a negative Nancy all the time and, you know, shit on everything. But I know there are some things to shit on, and it's you know, we can kind of talk about those in a little bit. I do have a guest he's my very first guest on the Bears Country podcast. He came on and he just put his balls on the table and said, yeah, I'll do this with you, buddy. And so he was at the game with me. He came in from like the Savannah area. We both grew up, went to high school together. And then he lives in the Savannah area. He came up by me and joined us for the game yesterday. So I want to bring him on so we can kind of talk with him and get his, you know, perspective from the game like I had it. And we can kind of talk with you about that too, Dan. So let's bring on Brian. Brian, what's up, buddy?
Hey, it's a great pleasure to be here. I'm really, really excited about this. Being at the game, there's so much to talk about. I mean, from the opening kickoff to the last drive, I don't even know where to begin, where to start. The defense at the beginning, the opening drive that the Falcons ran on them. What was interesting is that, you know, when the Bears kicked off, I was like, all right, good. You know, they deferred or whatever. They get the ball in the second half. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then the Falcons just ran the ball and just shoved it right down our throat for a score. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. You know, it's 7-0. And then we came back and then shoved it down their throat. So like, all right, now this is a slugfest right now. It went back and forth. I think the Bears had the momentum most of the game. It's just that the Falcons just found ways to make plays, to finish. I think the best word right now with the Bears, and I'm going to leave it at this and let everybody else interject and come in, is the word finish. We're just not finishing games. We're not having players to finish. The coaching staff, I mean, I don't like blaming coaches. Nobody's finishing. So we're losing by 3 points, 1 point, 8 points. The 2 blowout games. That's it. So the word, I think,
special teams gaffes.
Yeah, I think the key word. One word: finish. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So
4 games by special teams that we lost? A missed PAT, a blocked punt, and 2 fumbled punt returns.
And a kick return yesterday.
yeah.
Right. Right. Thank you. So, I mean, if you take that element out of the, the problem that we have, and you just make that neutral, this team did have a chance this season. They really did. But the reason why my background is dark tonight is because I'm kind of in a somber mood. I'm celebrating I shouldn't say celebrating. I'm like, this is the death of the season for me. So I'm like, the background is kind of just darkened and kind of somber. That's how I feel today. Being at the game, I thought we were going to win this game, guys. There was not a doubt in my mind we were going to win this game.
Yep.
We flooded that field with Bears fans. It was easily 70% Bears fans. And we lost that game just out of nowhere. And it's just kind of been what we've been seeing all season long to get my negativity out of the way, Dan. That, you have these moments where you get to the goal line 3 times in one fucking game and you can't score. Another time in the Packers game, the Giants game, just, that was the fumble by Velus Jones, and the Commanders game, the fumble by Velus Jones. But at least the positivity that you can take out of it is that you realize that that's just a couple of rookie mistakes and a couple of other bad calls or bad plays or non-calls that would have gone our way had we been a better team, quote unquote. So in the future, you can look forward to probably having those calls go your way when they're going to give them to a Dolphins team like that for no reason, seemingly, after that last call, the PI that wasn't called in the Dolphins game. I'll never forget about that. That'll stick with me forever. But at least there's something to build on with the draft pick that we're going to get. And that's all you can start to hope for when you're in a season like this. So,
well, if you don't mind me interjecting,
please.
There's still 6 games to go, and one of 2 things are going to happen, in my opinion. It's going to be like 1989. You started the year 4-0, and you finished 6-10. And don't forget, we started this season 2-1, and we lost. It seemed like the last 6 games or so of '89. So that could easily be this season where we lose like the last 7 or 8 games or what have you. Or the flip side is Fields is hurt. Trevor Siemian comes in and wins a couple of games, and it's just like 2013 when everyone's like, oh, McCown, fuck Cutler, we got Josh McCown. Right. So as much as I want the Bears to win, and I'm going to be rooting for the Bears, even if 15's playing, if Siemian wins, there are going to be people saying, see, it's Fields' fault. That's the reason they haven't been winning. And just hearing that in my head makes me sick. Just people trying to say that the losing has been Fields' fault when the kid has been giving us literally his entire body.
Everything. And like we were worried about them started a narrative about he's a running quarterback, and here we are.
Yeah. Like I said, Ed O'Branovich yesterday said that he should be a slot wide receiver.
Right. That's the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I know. It's just that's the narrative. People are saying
the bottom line is that
he can't make his second read. He's only a runner. Just this crap,
The bottom line is this kid is giving everything that he has for us, just like Walter Payton did in the mid-'70s. He was the entire team at that point. And even though he was a running back, he might as well have been the quarterback and the wide receiver and the punter and the kicker and everything else. And that's what this kid is to this team.
I'd like to get Cliff in on this because I think he's got some things to say about.
You're damn right, we should. I'm sorry, Cliff. We've been ranting on. Wait, hold on a second. Let's just bring in Cliff here. I'm sorry, we just left you off in the background.
Hey guys,
what's up, buddy?
No worries. I'm just looking at my notes.
Like, what? I
redid all the notes while I was waiting. So what you have is completely wrong now.
Oh God, okay.
Just kidding. Oh, by the
I
way,
mean-
before we get going, Aldo, my prayers and best wishes to your family in this tough time. Sorry to hear.
Although mine as well too. I mine as well. So Cliff, like you've been sitting in the background. What do you think about what are your thoughts on this game? Should we just get right into Cliff Notes?
Sure, we can go through the cliff notes. I'll give you a little bit right off the start. Bears were in this game the entire game. 27-24 at the end of the game. So this was not a blowout. As usual, the Bears are still right there. They've got the cheapest salary in the league. Justin Fields was having issues. All right, let's do some positive things. The positive thing about Justin Fields' leg cramps is that he was getting massages on the sideline instead of in hotel room.
Right. Exactly.
So,
And we can confirm
so-
he didn't ask anyone to touch his asshole.
Right.
there you
Like
go.
Deshaun
there
Watson.
you go. Well, Deshaun's coming back. A couple more weeks.
Yeah, couple more.
So, all right,
He's coming already.
let's start the cliff notes. You guys have covered part of what we're going to go over, but this will sort of give us a structure to go through the game, and we can all give our thoughts on what happened as we went along. All right, now Justin's status and update. Okay, thanks for the update on the dislocated shoulder, and that makes sense to me. I was thinking separated shoulder, dislocation, something like that. He's not going to be playing. I watched his press conference right after the game. He was sitting like this with his like this with his left shoulder down. That's so much pain that he can't even lift his shoulder up. So I have the feeling that at the earliest he's going to return is going to be after the week 14 bye.
Hold on
And
a
that's
second.
if he does come back this season.
J-Rock, you're right. I'm sorry. I completely fucked this up. Yeah, it does say Bears versus Lions.
I didn't write that. Hey, J-Rock, I had Atlanta in there.
I had all my friends and family. They came in this weekend and they're all visiting this week. And I made the cliff notes. And sorry, it was just a template. I fucked that up. Good observation. Thank you.
Yeah, Shorty, you got to forget about that game. It's over.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I
So
almost want to talk about that game.
now Eberflus today, reporters were asking about Trevor Siemian, and everything Flus said, reading between the lines, indicates to me that Trevor Siemian is going to be starting this week. Now, also, I heard the Bears may be signing somebody on their staff because Justin Fields had 4 quarters of leg cramps. So I heard they were going out to try to get the water boy. I think Justin needs that special water. So, Ed, do you guys disagree at all that we are going to see Justin anytime before week 15?
Well, if he's got a dislocated shoulder, I would not play him.
No.
I mean, for one, it hurts. Secondly, he ran the ball 18 times. I mean, at least whatever percentage of 50 plays, 18 of them are designed.
More
or
Monty.
RPO. I mean, even with the RPO, you're going to run it at least 7, 8, 10 times probably. So I wouldn't play him if he's that hurt because, we don't want any further damage.
Lost. The season's gone now.
And now we did talk about you want development. We want this guy to develop, but we don't want him to develop hurt. So if he needs to shut it down or he needs to sit down for 2-3 weeks, I say, go for it. Siemian, I mean, he's solid. He's not a bad guy. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be a very bland, vanilla offense probably. But we'll just see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kid has just been running the ball all season long, and it's about time it took its turn on him, right? I mean, we were all worried about this, and it was in the late period of the game when it didn't matter. Well, it did matter. The whole game was
did
done,
matter.
and it did matter, but they didn't need to run him that much at the end of the game like that. To what you said, Dan, you were texted me yesterday about like, why are they running him right now? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the first two plays of that last drive before the pick were both running plays. It's just like, why he can't stand. I mean, he's tired, he's cramped up. Like, you got to have situational awareness if you're Luke Getsy. You got to know your fucking players, man.
Right.
If that's David Montgomery, you're bringing in 25 in his place. You're not going to have him out there like that. So don't run Fields in that situation.
Right.
Like, call some pass plays, especially when he was passing the ball fairly well on their last scoring drive.
Right.
I mean, he can do it. That's when you get, hey, number 10, we give a second round pick for you. Let's go earn some money, pal.
Yeah, I will interject real quick. I mean, for Dan's buddy Ian, I'll give him a shout out. He was like, when he saw Fields run, he's like, well, why don't you just give it to Montgomery? I mean, if you're going to run the ball, just give it to him. Why let the quarterback do the dirty work, do the job? So I was like, that's actually probably a pretty smart, assessment of the whole, scheme with Fields. Now, granted, Fields could run fantastically, but 18 times, that's a little too much for your
more
quarterback.
than running backs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's full, man.
What was Montgomery, 17?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good points, guys. And as I'm saying, I really don't think we're going to see Justin until at least week 15. So let's hope he's not seriously injured. If he is seriously injured, he may be out the rest of the year. Now, that brings us to point 2, which is a polarizing topic, tanking. As you guys were mentioning earlier, what advantage is there to winning these games right now, other than giving the players confidence? Houston's 1-8. They're going to get the first pick. They're going to keep losing. Carolina's 3-8. The Bears are 3-8. After that, there are 6 teams that are 3-7 that have already had their byes. So they all have a easier strength of schedule than the Bears. So at whichever ones of those teams that lose, they will jump ahead of the Bears. Right now, the Bears are currently at 3, but you've got 6 teams that could pass them by losing their next game. So the Bears are somewhere between 3 and 9. They're a top 10 pick right now. Pick number 2 is maybe possible if they lose and everything else goes right, but it's not going to happen. So I would think Bears are probably looking somewhere between 5 and 8, 5 and 9, something like that for their draft pick. And that's if they don't come in and win a couple of meaningless games. Now, do you guys want to see them not actively tank, but do you want to see them lose now, going for the better draft pick, or do you still want them to keep trying to win every game, Brian?
Let me interject because we were talking about this. The college draft this year, I'm not sure who stands out. The only one is the guy from Alabama, Anderson, linebacker. I wouldn't mind getting him. He's tough. The guy's fast. He's a great linebacker. Would really help our defense. Offensively, wide receiver. Nothing's popping, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm not, informed enough. Maybe there's, somebody else will step up and say, no, there's this guy, that guy. When I watch College Game Day, I do like college football. I love Illinois. I wish they would, step it up a little bit more. But anyways, to talk about the defensive line, like out west, Oregon, Washington, I'm like, okay, I get it. But nothing pops to say, why tank? When you tank, you want a quarterback. And there ain't no quarterback anyways. So I don't think there's any reason for them to tank. Plus, Dan, he brought up a great point, Shortino, that is. Second round, you can find some quality guys there. So I don't think there's any reason to even bother tanking. Keep playing, develop. You got to develop the line, develop the defense. I mean, let's just try to win, learn how to win games, learn how to finish, and move on to next year. That's my take. I don't know. Somebody else may have a better assessment.
I agree, Dan.
Do you honestly have faith that the Bears will get the draft pick right? I mean, I'm not trying to be, negative, but I mean, we had the 5th pick in the draft. The Chicago Bears have selected running back Cedric Benson, Texas. It's just like, okay, we fucked this up before. How about the 2nd pick in the draft? The Chicago Bears have selected quarterback North Carolina, Mitchell Trubisky. How many times have we had these good picks and nothing came out of it? The Chicago Bears have drafted quarterback UCLA Cade McNown,
Cade
first
McNown
round.
saved the franchise.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
that
How many
hurts.
times? The Chicago Bears have selected tackle Stan Thomas.
Oh,
Stan Thomas is the best tackle I've ever seen.
oh my God! This guy's an encyclopedia.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, do we have a lot of faith that this is gonna work? Like, if we tank to get such a good pick, and it's just like, for every time we've been in this situation, it's just the Chicago Bears selecting 5th have drafted running back Penn State Curtis Enos. Curtis Enos. Yeah. By the way, folks, Randy Moss is sitting in the green room. Curtis Enos. So, I mean, just saying, this shit, I have no faith. So why wouldn't you come out and try to win? And if I'm Trevor Siemian, I'm not coming in there to tank. Like it's my chance to get paid potentially if I play well, if I'm Trevor Siemian. And I thought he did okay in Denver. I don't know what he's done in his other stops, but I did see him quite frequently with the Broncos, and I thought he was a decent quarterback. I'm not saying he's John Elway or even Jay Cutler, but I think he's a good backup, and it's his turn to play now because just like Cliff said, if dislocated shoulder, that sounds like definitely not playing this week, probably not the Packers. Then there's a bye. Maybe he comes back then, but probably if you keep losing, why bring him back at all? Mm-hmm. So, well, I don't know. It's like if you're losing, there's no guarantee you're going to get the draft right. So I would rather just win.
And there's no guarantee that your draft pick, even if it's the 5th pick or the 2nd pick, you're going to get a superstar out of that. None whatsoever.
The Chicago Bears have drafted Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd.
The best outside
who's actually doing well on the Rams.
Rams ever had. Yeah.
The Chicago Bears have drafted Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
Is it fair to call Roquan a bust now? Maybe not a bust, but a disappointment?
Listen, if anyone watched Roquan
mental
Smith
attitude-wise,
if you watched Roquan Smith progress through his career, you notice that he just got a little bit pudgier and a little bit slower every year. And right. And it came into this year, he held out again, and he came in a little bit pudgier and a little bit slower. And yeah, he was having a good season. But what has he done for the Ravens? Statistically, Jack Sanborn has done better for the Bears than he has in the last, games since we've traded him. So that's a different subject.
I've got one more for you. Sure. The Chicago Bears have selected Michael Haynes with the 1st round pick in 2003. Michael Haynes.
Michael Haynes. That was a good one.
God, I remember that.
Yeah.
Now one good point is the Bears don't take a quarterback because the Bears are terrible at taking quarterbacks. So at least they don't have to take one. And I will say there are a couple of D linemen, that'll go in the top 10 that I would not mind having the Bears pick up. So, we'll see what happens. I don't expect the Bears to win every game. I probably don't expect them to lose every game. So we'll see where they end up. Now, a little bit on Trevor Siemian. I think he's going to be quarterback for the near future at least. He's got a passer rating basically in the 80s throughout his career. Not the worst, but definitely not best. His nickname is Check Down Trevor. So that doesn't say good things for
that fits right in with Luke Getsy.
Yeah, there you go.
Luke Getsy's we're going to take one shot a game, period. That's it.
Maybe they'll get along well together.
Trevor.
Now, he was drafted in the 7th round in 2015, and the Bears are his 4th team. So we all know what he is. He's a journeyman quarterback. Do you guys have any hope that he's going to show any reason to not bring Fields back as soon as we can?
I do, because this offense fits his strengths. And like I said, I thought he played fairly well in Denver. And, he did okay in the preseason as well, by the way. I know the preseason is the preseason, but I think he'll play well. And then I'm afraid of the narrative then. It's going to be like, oh, well, it's Fields' fault that, they've been losing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm worried about, too.
Josh McCown 2.0.
Mm-hmm. Or then
We don't need a quarterback.
No, he's a running quarterback. Right. All right. So I was curious about Valus too. Number 5, Valus.
Okay, here, real quick with Marcus Mariota. This is where the game gets going. The Falcons have their first drive. They march down the field. They score. Now, penalties against the Bears are starting early. The defense is playing sort of lackadaisical. 7-0 Bears. Okay, on to Valus. All right. Now, did you guys look at that kick return closely? He bobbled that ball. You know, it bounced like several inches up, and then he got control of it. So I saw another fumble coming right there, but then he made up for it with that return. So do you see, Shorty, you see any kind of way that we can have Valus do the running on kick returns without having to catch the ball?
No. What I see that they should be doing with Velus Jones is just my own personal opinion, is get him the ball quick on confidence plays where you can catch the ball in stride and then get some yak. And if you can get that kid some yak on like a slant or a mesh route or, you know, a seam route where they're crossing and just hit him in stride, he's running top speed, get him out there, get him some yak. That's where I see him. We're going to build confidence with this player. I don't see them utilizing him correctly. And they put him on that awesome deep bomb that he dropped. He just alligator armed it, and now they're not playing him on the offense. And I think you need to build this confidence by giving him some quick plays where he can just get the ball and go. And that's not fucking screens and, you know, reverses. I'm talking about get him the ball in space and let him run.
Can I throw a weird side note with that? Because they like to run field so much, are they just looking for blocking wide receivers? So maybe some of these guys like Claypool and Jones are not out there because they're not blockers, they're pass catchers. I just thought of it for a second. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I could see that with Valus. You know, he's no good at blocking, but Claypool actually was doing a lot of blocking on Pittsburgh. So, you know, he's a bigger guy, and they were using him for blocking. But he did – in this game, he missed the block, though. When Justin was running, he had a chance to block, and he missed it.
Okay. Well, Claypool has not really been out. We have not seen, number 10 out there much. So I'm
the first game than the last two, I think.
I'm kind of confused. I'm just confused on what system they're trying to put in place with this offense, with this, very dynamic quarterback they have.
Can I interject on that, please?
Yes.
I get it if you traded for a quarterback. Let's just say hypothetically the Bears were in it, Fields got hurt, and they traded for somebody to pick up, the rest of the season fighting for a playoff berth. If you're bringing in a new quarterback who's got to call the audibles and has to know where everybody is, I get it. That's complicated. That's a new offense. For Chase Claypool, how difficult is it for him to come in and play football? You're a wide receiver. You don't have to know where everybody else is at any given moment. You just have to run your own routes precisely and catch the ball or maybe block. I think that this is just showing the weakness of the Bears coaching staff. I mean, this isn't on Claypool. Like, I'm sure Chase is telling them, bro, I got it. Just put me on the field. I can do it. I can do it.
Okay.
This is on the Bears coaching staff. They get a new toy and they don't know how to fucking use it. It's just like, oh, well, I hadn't bought a new PlayStation since like 2, and now I've got a 5. I don't know what to fucking do, so I'm just not even going to turn it on.
Right. I 100% agree with that.
Hey, Casey, we'll get to your comment. When we get to number 12, we'll get to your comment, Casey. All right, just something real quick here. Why does Justin keep hitting defender helmets with the ball? He seems to do that a lot. And in this case, the ball's deflected straight up. When you guys in the crowd, how high was that ball? It was probably higher than you guys were sitting for sure.
Oh, and we were shitting our pants.
I gotta say that Mustipher was the guy that came in there and knocked the ball away. So kudos to Mustipher on that one.
His mom can be happy that Fields is hurt. If you saw that controversy on Twitter last week.
Exactly, yeah. No, that ball got swatted so high. It was like, was that swatted? You're
Yes.
waiting. You're trying to see it. It's like
Off the helmet.
it took so long to come back down to the field.
It reminded me of the play in 01 when Brian Robinson batted Tim Couch's ball up in the air and Mike Brown intercepted it for the game-winning touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that one. Because, like you said, it was batted in the air and it was so high up in the air. But it also reminded me of
to come down.
The Redskins-Dolphins Super Bowl where Theismann came in and batted the ball down that saved a touchdown when the ball was batted up in the air, and it appeared that the Dolphins were going to get a pick six out of it. Like I think Cliff said that was Mustafa who come and knocked the ball down.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one of the good things he did yesterday. One of a few.
The Bears actually moved the ball down the field, and I don't know how closely you guys saw that first touchdown play that Mooney caught, but that was a great pick play by EQ. I mean, he blocked two guys basically without looking like he was blocking anybody. Left Mooney wide open in the end zone. So 7-7.
That was right in our corner. I was about to start filming it, and then I was like, that's not going to be a touchdown. Fuck, it was a touchdown. It was so close to us.
When you think when you think nothing's gonna happen, that's when you should push record.
I know it happened again, but I got 2 more touchdowns last night though. So
no, it's funny you call it a pick play because I said the same thing when I saw the highlight of it. I went, "Oh, he did pick that," because it was like a wheel route, and then when he stalled and like totally held up that corner. I'm like, I'm kind of surprised nobody threw a flag on that a little bit. But I guess it was so close to the line of scrimmage. It was a perfectly,
By the way,
play.
Brian is a defensive coordinator for Effingham Middle School. So
I coach defensive stuff, but that doesn't mean anything. I look at it and just look at like how I would play against it. But I don't know. When I saw that little stall, I went, it was good. It was a great play and a great catch.
It was, yeah. Brian, you can sit back a little bit. You're actually
I'm sorry. I know
he's involved in the conversation.
We can hear you just fine actually from there.
Okay. All right, my bad.
So hey Dan, do you have a comment or should I continue?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, see, there's 2 Dans. That's why I'm shorty.
Yes. All right. Now continuing on to the next Bears possession, Mooney's wide open again. And okay, now you guys mentioned he might be running a little bit slow, but come on, Justin. I mean, hit him with that ball. I thought the Bears should have scored a touchdown on that play. They should have been up 14-7, but the ball was overthrown and maybe Mooney wasn't at full speed.
Did anybody see the defender reach? Like, I thought I saw the defender reach and slow him down just a hair. Did anybody see that? Because I thought I saw that.
I thought I saw that watching the play too, but it's hard to see because, I mean, from our perspective, it looked like it. But rewatching the replay on the TV, it's the all 22 or whatever, it's hard to see whether or not he was actually interfering with him, but he did appear to be slowed down for sure in his route.
I thought he was running half speed and Fields overthrew him. It was both players failed in that sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, either way, the ball was definitely overthrown.
It was definitely overthrown, even from our vantage point.
It was.
Yep. So anyways, I thought the Bears should have taken the lead right there. All right, now the Bears end up punting, and it's a fumble. And now the refs call the guy down, and they say it's no fumble. Once again, these refs are all over on calling penalties against the Bears, but not helping them. Exactly. And I don't know if that's just being a homer, but it sure seems that we're seeing a lot of that game to game. So. Flus challenges. Good job, Eberflus. He challenges Bears ball. So, okay, now the Bears have the ball. Now, let's go see them score, right? Nope. A penalty and a sack stop the drive. It should be 21-7 at this point if the Bears were a good team and they were taking advantage of mistakes on the other side.
Yep. 100% You're right. Another woulda, shoulda, coulda been. Go ahead, Cliff.
So let's talk about something good though. You guys, did you see the Komet one-handed catch? What'd you guys think of that?
We went nuts. We thought it was great. It might go up top 5 of the year.
And thank God he didn't get his knee blown out on that tackle. It was so close to have like a knee blowout there. Very exciting though.
Yeah, to make that catch and being elevated and to get hit by 2 people and to still hold on to the ball and not a bobble or something that the league could have said, oh, he didn't have full control. Like, just dynamic. Again, I called the kid a bust last season, and I eat my fucking words gratefully.
Thank God. I'm glad you're eating your words. I know you are too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I see a Bears tight end playing like that.
Right.
For that play at least. For that play at least, Kelsey had nothing on him on that play. That was wonderful.
No, for sure, dude. 100%.
The last time we had a tight end that could play like that, let's just trade him. I mean, why do we need him? Why do we need Greg Olsen? I don't know.
No.
He fumbles a lot.
That's what Mike Martz would say.
He can't block.
Do you think they should utilize him a little more in the sense of like not only with his hand on the ground, but flex him out a little bit as a slot kind of guy?
At the very least, on the goal line, you could split him out and run a fade route and get him on a linebacker. I mean, come on, man. Okay. Like, we used to do that with Olsen all the time. How many times did the Lions do that to us back in the day? Granted, it was with wide receivers, but with Herman Moore and Brett Perryman, they'd get those big 6'4", 6'5" wide receivers and run that fade route, and it was almost unstoppable. And we could do that with Komet, but, just why would we,
I feel like
we need a little bit of better play calling. Getsy is making some mistakes, some rookie mistakes. Yep. Right. So anyways, the Bears get a field goal 10-7. So even though it should be 24-7 right now, at least they've got the lead. So, all right, now Cordarrelle Patterson in his revenge game, he comes back and he fumbles. Jalen Johnson with the recovery.
Mm-hmm.
No, here's another opportunity.
Yeah. We're going to win this game. We got this shit.
They're winning. They should be up by a lot, and they've got another opportunity now. Now, in this case, Bears move the ball downfield, and did you notice they use that exact same Justin Fields run to the left that scored touchdowns twice now, I believe, and this is the third time? Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Brian? You see that play?
Yeah. First of all, I have to say that we were talking, as fans, like the turnovers have got to be, we got to have the turnover advantage. Boom, it happened. We're like, okay, this is looking good. And Fields, oh my gosh, when he scored, that play when he scored his touchdown was spot on. I mean, it was wide. It was wide open. I mean, that gap that they sealed to I think to the right, and he ran B gap, I guess, or whatever, the four hole. I was like,
Sorry, I forgot to pull the video when I actually have this is when I decided, I'm like, I'm going to record this because this is going to be a touchdown. This is the play. Let me pull this in real quick, and let me turn the volume down. There we go. Okay. So I'm like, okay, these are our seats. I'm like, this is going to be a touchdown. And I got it. Look at that.
That's the one. Yep.
I guess it's the 6 hole, my bad.
We were right there. It was awesome. But go ahead, Brian.
No, I thought it was well designed. Very well designed. Perfectly ran. I think the Falcons probably were either thinking it was going to be a handoff or probably something, maybe a crossing. And Fields he took full advantage of it and cut it up, put his foot in the dirt, and scored a touchdown. And to be honest with you, at that point, it was kind of easy. Looking at that, I'm like, I think we got this game now. Things are starting to gel. We're looking really good. We're in sync a little bit. The turnover advantage is in our favor. Let's go.
I never thought we were going to lose this game.
Yeah, at that point, that run right there, I was fully confident.
I'm going to the bathroom. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll stop and get
exactly.
another hot dog, and
I'm getting a
I'll watch the
drink.
game on the TV because we got this. It's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what's going on over here? Holy shit!
Yeah. Cordell Patterson. Fuck.
No.
And that's the next number. All right, so they're up 17-7. It should have been, in my opinion, 31-7 right there. The game should have been over, and Bears should have just been cruising. But now we get number 12, Cordarrelle revenge. Yeah, it's okay. It's his. He gets revenge on the Bears canning him, and he gets revenge on his fumble, and he runs the kickoff back for a TD. And he sets the record against the Bears, by the way, with his 9th kickoff return.
Yeah.
His what?
9th. That's his 9th. He set the record for.
Yeah, he
9th, I believe.
Wait, he passed Devin Hester?
No, Devin Hester's are combined with punt returns. Devin Hester has the most returns, but it's combining kickoff and punt returns. Patterson's are singularly kickoff returns. He doesn't return punts.
Correct.
And who did he pass? Was it Dion?
I don't know.
No, I forget who it was right now.
Mitchell
They
from the
mentioned
Eagles?
it, but I forget.
Could have been Brian
Maybe.
Mitchell, the Redskins / Eagles. Could have been Dion. Could have been Devin. I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Wow.
No, could have been Eric Metcalf.
Maybe
for all I know.
Chad knows.
No shit. Eric Metcalf
Oh, jeez.
or Dennis Gentry.
Dennis Gentry was explosive.
He was.
Yep.
Go ahead, Cliff.
All right, we're coming down to the end of the half, and the Bears attempt a 56-yard field goal, and the ball goes 55.5 yards and hits the crossbar.
Let me interject on that one. I was watching him warm up, and Koo was drilling 58-yarders. Santos, he went 58. He missed it probably by 2 or 3 yards. So I guess that explains the 56-yard field goal. That's my best explanation for it.
Like,
That's a good point.
I didn't see him kick them in pregame.
Hey, I was at a game last season that Nagy tried in Pittsburgh to get Santos to hit a 64-yarder on Monday night. Of course, he missed.
Yes, of course he did. And then
Well,
that fucked up his streak forever.
I believe that his long is a 55, so this would have been his longest kick.
And that makes sense in warm-ups.
Yeah. All right, what's
All
up?
right,
What's
so
up next,
so that's
Cliff?
halftime. Do we have a commercial?
Oh, yes, we probably do have a commercial. We probably should bring a little quick commercial on here right after this.
Aldo here, and on the next Dan and Aldo Bear Their Soul show, I'm going to talk to Dan about the rebuild. Let's try to put a grade to it. Let's examine it. Let's talk about, where we're at certain position levels. And as a feeding point, we're going to use a segment from the Score Sports Radio's Bernstein and Holmes show with Dan Wiederer as their guest. Going to use their segment on this topic as a feeding point. And of course, Johnny Santucci will join us for the last hour, and he'll share some of his handicapping wisdom. We're live at 8 p.m. Central on Tuesday, and you can catch us on demand Wednesday morning wherever you get your podcast.
Listen, I'm producing this show tonight. Kitty is hanging out with Brian's wife over in our kitchen. So Aldo didn't send me a new commercial, so I apologize. That was an old one.
I was going to say, I think we did that last week.
Exactly. Hey, it's not on me. It's like Aldo's supposed to be sending me commercials.
He's going through some adversity right now, though.
No, I know. I apologize.
Hey, that's Bears Country Podcast. That's what we do.
We play the wrong
Okay.
fucking commercials all the time. That's what we do.
Here, I'll make you feel better. I forgot to add that the Falcons kicked I think it was 53-yard field goal to tie the game at the half. So now it's halftime. Do you have a commercial now?
Yeah, no commercials.
Okay, getting into the third quarter, which is actually a pretty quiet and boring third quarter compared to the rest of the game. My one comment here: Monty is better than Ebner. Now, have you guys lost faith in Ebner yet? He doesn't seem to really have it.
I agree.
Yes.
Dan, do you have the play where he bounced off his own offensive lineman?
Brian, you don't have to talk into the mic. Just sit where you're at.
Apologize.
You're good.
We can hear you better that way.
Oh, Thank you.
Brian, sit back and just expose your Bears Country podcast t-shirt.
All right.
There you go.
All right. I'm sorry.
We can hear you from there. No, I was going over the plays, and the one screen. Do you remember the one where Justin threw like a screen pass to him, but it hit the dirt for him, but it was behind the line of scrimmage. So luckily, Ebner was
right.
That was
It
like
was
the
the
best
lateral.
play he's right. That was like the best play he's made as a running back the entire season. He acknowledged that, or recognized that ball bounced off the ground past the line of scrimmage, and he picked it up and started to try to run with it. And it was that was like the best play of the game for him. I'm losing faith in my confidence in Treston Ebner, quite frankly, Cliff, because he was touted as a 4.9 40 running back. I don't see that. He gets the ball in his hands. He's not, taking off like Tyreek Hill or something. He's not that fast. He might have top end speed, but he's not like quick out of the gates. And for him to come in and even like try to replace Herbert is not sufficient. I personally am losing confidence in him. What do you guys think, Dan?
I concur. He appears to be slow, and the guy that they signed off the practice squad this week that they'd signed from the Titans in the offseason deserves more carries, if not all of Ebner's carries next week.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. I couldn't believe they didn't bring Darrington Evans up from the practice squad after Herbert went down. And
right, or try Valus there. Try something at least.
Right. Anything, but Ebner seems like he's a no-go.
Right, I agree with you. And he runs east-west. He's doing way too much of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Falcons get the ball back, and penalties give Mariota the touchdown. All right, that roughing the passer penalty saved that drive. The Bears had him stopped, and they get a roughing the passer. Mariota goes ahead and runs for the TD, and they take a 24-17 lead. Shorty, were you getting a little bit concerned now that the Bears lost the lead?
Yeah, I was pissed off. I mean, why is Mariota making us look stupid? Whenever it counted, it seemed like he had an answer for what we were doing. And this game to me was like a 45-20 blowout. I mean, it should have been the Bears by a lot. And then we lost at the end by 3. So I guess it just goes to show that we were who they thought we were. Saying that.
Yeah, but there was no pressure on him. Zero pressure.
On Mariota.
Yeah, none.
Right.
I mean, our D-line did not give him at all any kind of fit or any adversity. I mean, and if they did, they gave him a hole for him to run through, or just space to make a play. Mm-hmm. And then, secondary. I mean, God bless them. It's hard to guard somebody when your D-line has no pressure on the quarterback, and he's over there, being able to have all this time to find an open guy or make a play or make a run. And I'll be honest with you, I felt bad for the secondary because they really had to work hard, and the D-line didn't do their job.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to mention, I started to a moment ago and just lost my thought. On the kickoff return by Patterson, Adams had a chance to tackle him and just whiffed. And there were 3 terrible plays by Nicholas Morrow during the game, 2 horrible missed tackles in open field, and he dropped an interception.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Morrow did not have a good game.
Just our linebackers are horrible at this point. I know everyone's on Sanborn's dick, and maybe that'll prove to be rightfully so, but God, everybody that's back there Joe Thomas made one big play, but for the most part, the linebackers aren't doing anything. That Muhammad's not doing anything at all. 99 is being a fundamental disappointment this year. And you could say, oh, he got all of his sacks before because Mack and Quinn were here, but I don't know if that's true. The whole front 7 seems to be struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They need at least a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well-
Justin Jones, man, it's like the guy that we tried to sign from Cincinnati that went to Pittsburgh. I forgot how to pronounce his name. That we said he wasn't healthy enough to sign.
Ogunjobi.
Ogunjobi, man, you can't tell me he couldn't give us more than Justin Jones is doing.
Right.
This dude's been invisible the whole season.
Most of it, yeah. The defensive line is going to be the number one priority in the offseason for sure. It has to be. And
Or maybe the
everyone
offensive line.
Probably
right.
the first pick.
Right. One or the other. They're both going to be the focus of this team. They should be. Because we can go into the offseason here and I mean, I would hope that we think we can develop Claypool in the next year, right? So you don't have to like waste a draft pick on a wide receiver that soon. So maybe you can get like a flyer wide receiver in the third round or maybe a late second with that if there's one there. But you can like kind of put some eggs in the basket of the Claypool trade that you can hope to like have them ready next year to gel with a training camp, with Fields, right? So I think they're going to go defense and offensive line, A or B. You pick it to start this draft.
If
And
you want to
it'll be fun
draft
to
an
watch.
edge or a 3-tech, that's probably going to have to be the first pick.
Yeah. Probably.
All right,
All right, what's up next?
getting
Cliff?
back to some happier stuff. All right, getting back to some happier stuff here. Number 17, Fields drops a dime to Montgomery. Fields waves I forget who was going short, but he waves him out and then throws it over his head to Montgomery, and it was just a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Fields can overthrow by 2 yards and then throw such a dime like
the
he did
run,
with this
too.
one.
Beautiful
Yes,
pass.
yes.
Dan, what did you
So
think of that pass? I mean, that was like one of the prettiest passes we've seen from a Bears quarterback.
Once again, it made me think of an old Super Bowl, the Raiders versus the Eagles, with Jim Plunkett hitting King down the sideline, going in for a touchdown like 50 or 60 yards on that wheel route. It's just, it was a thing of beauty. And that's why, again, on that last drive, let's see more of that, instead of running him when he can barely stand.
Right.
So he can throw the ball. I mean, if all of his detractors say he can't make his third and fourth read, okay, well, let's do it with his first and second. Let's go.
Exactly. Well said, Dan. Go ahead, Cliff. What's next?
Okay, moving on. Number 18. Did you guys see Fields' 50-yard run? He ran sideways for 50 yards. He runs
yes.
runs to the left, eludes 2 defenders, runs back to the right, and then hits EQ.
I'm glad he caught it.
And EQ is like
And
he
EQ
was like a pinball machine bouncing around players.
I mean, I call that play a Keystone
EQ
Cop
actually
play.
got bounced back.
Yeah.
Yeah, EQ gets bounced back in that direction. Otherwise, he's going to be on the other side of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, this guy's like practically on the other side, hits the one dude, comes all the way back. I mean, the fact that Fields can even make that play, I mean, that just shows how talented the guy is. Now, even conversely, how frustrating from a Falcons standpoint that they couldn't make the play. When I looked at it from the, when, Dan was breaking the plays down, I just had to kind of laugh. I mean, it looked like a middle school just cluster mess. And dudes are just running everywhere. And then all of a sudden it's backyard football. Let's just try to get open. And, we made it happen.
Everyone's running around like left to right. Over here.
It was just chaos.
Yeah. Awesome play, though. It worked out well for the Bears in the end. And that's the kind of thing we want to see from this team is working on those scramble drills and building forward from that because they're going to happen a lot more, moving forward.
And where's Brian? Where's Pringle?
Go ahead.
Like we've seen, he just come back from injury. He's been back 2 games and has done nothing. Like, I don't know why I would play N'Keal Harry down the stretch. I mean, what's Pringle done at all? I know he's been injured, but he's been an invisible man too. I would play number 8 at wide receiver the rest of the way and put Pringle on the healthy scratch.
I 100% agree. All right, moving on. Now,
me
what do we
too.
got? 19 now?
All right. So Justin, to finish up on that one, Justin reminded me of Deshaun Watson. You know, he's got a lot of the same characteristics where he can just elude and get out of trouble. So there's hope for the future. Okay, number 19. They continue that drive. Monty gets the untouched TD and 121 combined yards for the day.
Yeah. I mean, Monty he had a lot of screen plays and caught the ball a lot too. He had a lot of receiving yards. Good game for him. It was a Monty and Justin Fields day for sure on offense. Combined with a little splash of Mooney.
What'd you think about him, Brian?
At first watching live, I was like, there's a lot of red in his vicinity. Almost like there's something missing. Like they're either Atlanta's keying it, or we're giving something away. But watching the highlights, I could see where he was getting yards. So the guy's a workhorse. I like Monty. I'm a big Iowa State guy. I love his style. I think he's versatile. And then his touchdown run. That was a good call. I think the blocking at that time, actually, everybody was in sync. He found the gap. He ran in and basically untouched. And it turned out he had a much better game than it looked.
Rewatching the game, than it did from being at the game and watching it from our seats. It's when you rewatch, the film, you're like, oh, he actually had a much better game than we thought. So good game for him.
He quietly just has the good games. Now, Dan, I know you like Montgomery.
I do. I thought that he probably should have gotten more carries, but like Brian said, it feels like as soon as he gets the ball, there's always like 3 guys he's got to fight off just to even get a yard, which I can understand that. But he does break a lot of tackles. He runs hard. I really wanted him to get his backup, Herbert's out for at least 3 more games, I would think. Plus, so now's your chance to make your contract. This is your chance to show you're the man. Ebner's not doing anything behind you. You can get the bulk of it, especially with Fields hurt. This is where David Montgomery has to step up and say, I want to be here. Give me the ball. Give me a contract.
Right.
And it's all on him now. Like, I wish him well. I want him here, but it's up to him and the offensive line.
100%
give
agree.
him 25 carries and see what he can do.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was reading online, some people were speculating that we would let him walk and sign Saquon Barkley as a free agent.
Ooh.
Saquon's hurt quite frequently, let's just say.
Yeah, he is, but he's still a sexy idea. All right, what's up next?
Let's see what the price for the 2 of them will be. Okay, this was Koo's 53-yard field goal. And actually, I got to tell you, I smiled. This field goal made me really happy. Can you guess why?
Oh, he's my focus.
You got him for fantasy or something.
I have Koo in my fantasy team, and he won me in my fantasy league.
That's right. That's right. Fantasy football rocks.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, anyways, this is where the
play
Falcons
fantasy either. I just don't get it.
You're outnumbered here on that, Cliff.
All right. We're on 21. We're at the end. Justin hurts his shoulder. I rewatched this to make sure, but it was the first play of the final drive. He ran to the left. He got tackled out of bounds, and he landed hard on his left shoulder.
Yeah, Justin said that
you
too
could tell,
in the presser.
You could tell he was in pain right when that happened. And then on the play right after that, they run him to the left again, and he barely gets touched on that shoulder, and he yelled. You can hear him yell in pain. So right there, I'm like, oh, he's done for a while. He's not coming back next week. That interception, I think, was partially. I mean, it was a bad hit. I mean, if you watch the replays, I mean, you can clearly see he's hurt there, and then the next play, he's really hurt. And I think that interception. Dan.
I was going to say he took a cheap shot from Grady Jarrett at some point in the game too. Just a filthy, dirty hit, and they didn't call it again.
Yes.
Chad Brisker pissed off in the presser after the game.
Yeah, we
Yep.
saw that. We were
Bears
all
are not getting the call.
screaming. We were all
Yeah.
screaming how they did not call that. They've been calling penalties all day long against the Bears, and that one hit on him, I'm like, that's a late hit. That's a cheap shot, and then nobody said a word. Everybody's just looking around like, oh, nothing happened. But that was the game.
That's the narrative of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the shitty
Right,
white
right.
quarterback
And-
from Washington gets hit, and they changed the whole game throwing a flag.
Yeah,
That I can't even think of the kid's name, but whatever. It's just like, I
Heineke,
don't want to
Taylor
make it a
Heineke?
racial issue, but it kind of starts to feel that way a little bit. Like when our quarterback gets hit over and over and over, nobody says a fuck, and then someone way less, like Taylor Heineke, whatever his name is,
Taylor Heineke, yeah.
far less qualified, gets all the calls. I mean, it's one of those things you have to look at. I mean,
I'll say this about that.
It makes
is that
me
the fact-
wonder.
Go ahead, Cliff.
Look, I was going to say, it makes me wonder if there are teams the NFL wants to win and teams the NFL wants to lose. That's all I'll say about that. All right, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say is that because the Bears run him so much, they put him in such precarious positions that the refs, I don't know. I've never been a ref. I would never want to be a ref. But the way they look at things, like Taylor Heineke runs the ball, they're going to be looking for somebody to come in and just kill the guy. Fields runs the ball. They're waiting for Fields to make a dynamic play, and they're just used to it. So I don't know. I think in their defense, it's nothing against the Bears. It's nothing against him. It's just the way the style of the game is with the way they play the Fields. They got to adjust to that. And I'll tell you what, next year, Fields, and they're still doing that with him, they may adapt to more of that style, and he'll get maybe calls. Maybe. I don't know. And if he doesn't, then we have maybe an argument. But things are so up in the air with the Bears. It's hard to even say this is the reason, that's the reason, because for lack of a better word, it's a cluster fuck right now across the board. Special teams, offensive line, defensive line, offensive scheme, just everything. Wide receiver.
We're pretty sure we have a quarterback, right?
I think we do.
If we go the rest of the season and can't get a fucking 250-yard passing game out of the kid, what's the narrative going to be when the season's over? Oh, he's a running quarterback. We're going to see it over and over and over again.
And they're trying to run this zone offense. I mean, this style it's a high school college style. Now, granted, yes, San Francisco runs really well. Kansas City can run really well. I get it, but your offensive line has to be so in sync. I mean, it's disgusting. What was it? One guy was it? What's his name? 65.
White hair.
Yeah, he was not like look the snap. He wasn't even moving. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's not even moving.
Well, there's a couple of plays here that I wanted to talk about, actually. Nothing to kind of do with what you're talking about.
Well, here, let me finish up the last comment. All right, Let me finish up the last comment on Cliff Notes. Right after that, Justin throws the interception, and I think that was directly due to the pain he was feeling right at the time. I don't think his brain was fully focused on that play.
Oh, no, probably not.
Probably not. It did bounce off the sands, though.
So that at least explains it. Like that's like a little more comforting in a sense, sadly, because we were like, what the fuck was this? We were so pissed, so dejected, so just sickened. But there's a reason. And a separated shoulder, I'd do the same damn thing if I was in his shoes.
Yeah, I have to agree. I didn't realize his shoulder was that bad. But
when I saw the press conference directly after the game, and I saw the way he was leaning. All right, I've had 2 rotator cuff surgeries, so I mean I know that lean, because I've had the amounts of pain that you just can't lift your arm up. It just hurts too much. And as soon as I saw him do that, I'm like, oh, he's seriously hurt. Mm-hmm. So at least 3 games.
Wow, because that leaves like nothing left to hope for in the rest of the season, does it? We're gonna have to come on here and have better draft choice about Trevor Siemian.
Hey, I'm having to come up with good stuff about the Bears losing every single week.
Dude, Cliff, you are fucking doing an amazing job, by the way. Thank you.
I can't wait until when we get to next season and the Bears are winning and I can do Cliff Notes on the games. I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
It's just that
the Chicago Bears have drafted left tackle Chris Williams. Chris Williams, Vanderbilt. He's hurt already? Okay.
Oh, that guy.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Dan, we're gonna bring you into belief with watch the off season with us, and then we're gonna get you to believe sometime next year.
I hope so.
Oh, Dan. It's always great talking to you after a Bears loss.
Sure doesn't feel that way on my end, but that's not personal toward you or anybody else. I just feel so
No,
dejected.
I know, myself included. I'm not being personal towards you either. It's just, it's like, here we are. You just didn't think about having to deal with these dejecting losses when you're trying to make a Bears podcast. And then here you are after, 10, 11 games and you have 3 wins and you're like, well, what the fuck am I doing right now? But if we can at least entertain everyone out there and keep them from letting starting their hair on fire because the Bears are never going to win and they suck and this and that, I really do believe that they have the blind squirrel found the nut. And it's just going to take a little bit of time for them to build that nest. And I think we're on a good path towards that. And that's the best way I can describe it. I mean, there's a lot more losses to come this season, it seems like, because for fuck's sake, if we can't beat the Falcons, then who can we beat? I honestly don't know.
Maybe
No
the
one.
Lions.
We might lose the rest of the season.
Well, the Jets aren't very good, and they're talking about benching Zach Wilson. So
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say that.
That would probably help them.
I have to apologize to everyone in chat tonight. Kitty is not producing the show because she's hanging out with my buddy's wife over in our other side of our house. So I'm running this shit tonight. So it's hard to pull up chat questions while I'm trying to pay attention to you guys after another fucking loss. So hard to talk about losses, but at least we can build on the future from it, right? At least we have that.
There's always something good to talk about. Regardless of how bad the loss is, there's always some players that are doing good things. So we'll talk about them until we're talking about the Bears wins, which will be coming.
Mm-hmm. Jack Sanborn had he was like the second leading tackler of the game today or yesterday. I mean, I know it's Jack Sanborn, but he has still been playing better on paper than Roquan Smith since we traded Roquan Smith. So in my mind, good trade. He's not, Sanborn is not standing out like, he's doing what he did the previous game, but maybe there's something to build on there. And, maybe there's something to build on with this general manager who treats picks as gold bars. And we can move forward with knowing that we're going to be in good hands with a couple of trade downs that'll get us more picks, and we'll turn 7 into 15 next year or something, and then have that much more to work with. I mean, I'm just trying to douse my hair with water to keep it from lighting on fire. That's all.
So, Dan,
I think
I was going to say, is like, which free agents, though? Instead of draft picks, what free agents?
Me?
We have a shit ton of money to spend.
Shorty or Dan?
Dan. I'm sorry, Dan.
I have no idea at this point. I mean, I don't know. To be completely honest with you, I've watched, what are we, week 11? I've probably watched 12 games this year. I watched the Denver-Houston game, and I've watched all 11 Bears games. I've not watched 1 second of anything else. I don't know who's a free agent right now. I'm in my Bears bunker.
I love this guy.
Okay.
I love you, Dan. I'm the same way. I'm right there with you. I've gone to 3. It's like
I read the list of ones that I was looking at a couple of weeks ago. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I do remember that if the Bears spend about $70 million on the defense, they could end up with 4 solid quality star players on the defense. And that's, $70 million to do that may be enough to change their defense from being pretty bad to being pretty darn good.
Okay.
Can I be negative again? The Chicago Bears have signed Julius Peppers. The Chicago Bears have traded for Khalil Mack, oh boy, we've got Peppers, we've got Mac. Neither one of those meant shit in the end. Mac had
Hold
3 or
on a
4 good
second.
games.
We just traded for Khalil Mack.
Yeah, we gave up
He-
2 draft picks, and Mac didn't do anything but have a couple good games in 2018.
Dan,
And Peppers
Mac
was
is-
great when he went to Green Bay, and he was great in Carolina, but in Chicago,
Mac is a
he's there.
transcendent player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's
Yeah,
Khalil
Khalil
Mack
Mack was
for the
number
next 8
60
years
on the Bears all-time top 100 list going into the 2019 season, after one season, by the way, which is just embarrassingly like we don't have any concept of history while we're writing this fucking shit. But I'm sorry, Mac wasn't good in 19, 20, or 21.
No. Terrible trade.
Well, I'll name one guy. The Bears have signed Justin Fields. There's still hope for him.
Yeah, I hope so.
He is the modern day Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears. There's nothing else I can say about him other than that he's holding this entire team together with every single play, and he controls the ball. He has more control of the ball than Payton did. But you put the ball in the hand in the sands that many times, he's going to be the transcendent star that we're going to see grow and grow as we're watching with our own very eyes. And next year is going to be a lot better. We all know that. So
we've seen some
lick our wounds.
Pretty amazing things, Shorty. I mean, he makes some mistakes, but we've seen him do some really amazing things. So, who knows? Maybe the Bears are going to end up having someone that makes Josh Allen look like the second best quarterback in the league. But positive.
And not to mention, Fields is in his 3rd offense in 3 seasons.
Exactly.
I mean, he's not supposed to be some fucking, expert of this new offense, like not even through 1 season, but that's not what people just want to denigrate him,
100% agreed. Well, guys,
so we may as well be ready for it. Bears are going to lose most, if not all, of the games for the rest of the season. So let's just accept it. Let's accept the fact that we'll get a better draft pick, and let's look at the development and the good thing. We talked about it at the start of the year. Let's look at the development and the good things that are happening from some of the players on the team, because they're the guys that'll still be there next year.
And let's just look at it like you were saying. If we continue to think positively and we just find the cliff notes of positivity in each game, right? Because at this point, if we can't beat the fucking Falcons, we know that we are destined for the next 5 games are going to be probably mostly losses. So if we can just find the positives in them, right, Cliff? We can.
That's how I like to think.
We'll pull Dan out of the mud every week, moving forward, and we'll get Dan ready for Dan and Aldo on Tuesday.
I blame all of this on Jim McMahon.
So that Aldo gets a fresh. Dan
Why?
needs to be all the negative out of his system on Monday and move on with Aldo tomorrow night and have a fresh perspective.
If I'd have never been attracted to Jim McMahon's commercial spots and his personality, I'd have never been stuck being a Bears fan for 40 fucking years of losing.
Brian, you want to ask Brian asked about you today, Dan. He's like, where did he grow up? I'm like, West Virginia his whole life. And like Brian just started laughing. So how did he become a Bears fan? I was like, fucking Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon. Oh, the guy on that fucking motorcycle commercial. He's cool. The guy in the Taco Bell commercial. Who's that? Who's he play for? Well, that's my team.
Yep.
That was me at 4 or 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And that was me the same year at like 10. That got me into the Bears, was that 84, 85 season. Amazing.
Did you guys happen to see the game in Germany?
No.
Where the crowd was talking. They were singing Take Me Home Country Road, the German crowd.
Oh, God.
Take me home country road.
If you knew how badly I hate John Denver.
It was awesome.
God. And every time West Virginia wins a game.
Full of Germans singing it.
Well, it's better than some pro-Nazi stuff, but still, every time West Virginia wins a game, they play that damn John Denver song. I can't stand it, man. Even when metal people come here, like like Rob Zombie sung John Denver while he was here. He's like, quit capitulating to like this redneck stereotype, bro. You know, none of us are wearing shoes either, right, Rob?
All right, well, guys.
All right, I'm
This
going to
has
sing a
been
song out of here.
another
Mountain
excellent
Mama, take me home.
Yes. The Bears
Country
Country
Road.
Podcast, the Barroom Network. Guys, thank you,
Yay!
everyone in chat. Thank you very much. Cliff, thank you very much. Dan, love you very much.
All right.
Brian,
You all
know I
too.
love
Thank you.
You're my fucking BFF from high school, my friend. So,
Man, I appreciate you having me on. This is so much fun. I love it.
oh, it's been a
You're
blast.
doing a great thing.
Coming out this weekend, hanging out with us, going to the Bears game. I know it sucks talking about games like this after a loss, and I appreciate you guys coming on with me. And Cliff, you're always so positive. And Dan, we're going to keep continuing to pull you out of the gutter, considering we have a lot more gutter games left this season.
This is still better than
Well, be
98
When Steve Stenstrom?
when Steve Stenstrom had to play for Eric Kramer the rest of the year. And like, oh God, Steve, how can I even watch Steve Stenstrom? That's the worst quarterback in my lifetime for the Bears. Worse than Jonathan Quinn.
I agree.
Steve Stenstrom.
Well, if you guys
Was that
ever
the,
see me being negative, then be worried.
Well, myself included, Cliff. I'm going to come out here and rant one day, all pissed off, but I'll get it out of my system and try to remain positive as much as I can.
It'll be the Green Bay game. I'm telling you, it's gonna be.
Oh
Green Bay.
God!
We'll all be ready to go.
Yeah, let's get ready for that one. Let's just prepare for that. I'm going to be positive until then. That game, I might just blow up.
I
but
say
they're gonna
fuck
win.
the draft choice and beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
They better fucking beat Green Bay. God damn it. Anyways, love you guys. Love you guys in chat. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, you guys. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Barroom Network and Bears Country Podcast. And until next week, ready? 1, 2, 3. Bears.
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 Bears.